Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Haunted Book Club podcast. We'll start off like we always do with Bean's joke of the day.
Why don't ghosts like the rain? Because it dampens their spirits.
Our first story today comes from a listener named Roach. It's called There's a Ghost on the Highway. A few years ago, maybe 2019, my husband and I were driving out of Ottawa on Highway 17 around 2 a.m. with one of our pets to the emergency vet. She was on her way to the Rainbow Bridge, and we wanted to ease her suffering, so the veil felt wonky. We were just off the bridge outside Renfrew, and going around the curve, out of absolutely nowhere, there was a man pressed against the passenger side windshield, like he was leaning over the hood of the car. Both my husband and I got a damn good look, and my husband swerved thinking there was actually someone there. I called the OPP non-emergency line to let them know there was a guy jumping out of bushes, scaring people in cars. It wasn't until the next day or two, when we had processed it, we realized that if he was a living person, we would have at least clipped him. He was wearing a dark toque, a white crewneck sweater, and had an angry and malcontented energy. Not towards us, but just in general. We both saw it. Hands were on the glass of the windshield. Very creepy. I'll never forget his face. Thank you for sharing, Roach. It reminds me of all those creepy clowns from 2016. Our next story is another one that comes from the Hamilton Public Library archives. This story is about Norm Bilotti's ghost sighting. Back near the end of 1971, the Hamilton Spectator reported on a man, Norm Bilotti, and his wife Sherry. He had awoken one night to Sherry screaming. He looked up to see a figure over their bed. Norm described the phantom as a legless, wild-haired woman in a gown appeared over his bed twice. I know I saw something. I wanted to talk to it, but she disappeared. Little did he know that there was more creepy events than just this specter. 11 years later, when they were knocking down the house to replace it with a parking lot, in one of the walls they found a double headstone for Martha Louisa and Emma Grace. Only Emma had information that was legible. She was born November 9th, 1879, and passed not too long after. Norm wasn't surprised. When the article of his first sightings was written, the Spectator hired a psychic expert from Buffalo. His name was Malcolm Besant. Besant had remarked, "I have a strong feeling that there is something hidden in this vicinity. I'm uncertain of what it is, but it's an undeniable pull toward this. Seems like it might be the cause of the unusual activity. It would be intriguing to explore what lies beyond the walls, or beneath the sealed-off stairway, although I'm not proposing any drastic measures, such as tearing it down." The author of a follow-up article, Mark McNeil, asked him if he had seen any other ghosts. His answer? No, not one. Unfortunately, my thoughts go out to his family, because unfortunately, Norm's story ended January 2024. May he rest in peace. This next story comes from my good friend Poptart. I grew up with an invisible person. We all recognize their existence and will always be ready to throw blame their way. When your mom asks you where the TV remote went, it was right there, and you say didn't touch it, reply sarcastically, "Well, it must have been Mr. Nobody then." Something missing in the fridge and no one confesses to eating it? We blame Mr. Nobody again. And yet, how often is it that somebody, not remembering who did somebody hiding the household rhyme of eating somebody else's food? And in reality, how often could it really be an invisible being in the shadows causing chaos, hiding socks in the laundry, pushing your phone deeper into the couch as you search? Other names go on, such as Not Me, What's His Name, or I Didn't Do It. The creature, I think, is similar to the interdimensional being called the Hat Man, hidden and yet more visible in the sense that you would know he's near. One day, I was half asleep watching a movie, and the scene was getting very loud, so I turned down the volume and half closed my eyes again, and the action scene ended. It got quiet. I reached to turn the volume back up, and the remote was gone. I had used it a moment before, and turned quickly, and I saw a shadow move. I sat up. I went over to where I had seen the chair, and the remote was there. I may have seen something I shouldn't have. I turned around to go back to the movie, and this time I kept a lamp on, stayed awake. Thank you for listening, and have a good rest of your day.